Welcome, everyone, to today's Wisdom Dharma Chat. I'm Daniel Aiken, and I'm delighted to be joined and honored to be joined by Mingyur Rinpoche. And hello, Rinpoche. And today
Hello.
Today we're going to have an interview, like a conversation with Rinpoche for about 1 hour, and then we'll have a 5-minute break. And then you, the audience, can ask your questions to Rinpoche. And you do that by the Q&A panel at the bottom of your screen. So you can start entering questions now. And in the second part of the today's Dharma chat, we'll be going through those questions and Rinpoche will be answering them. But we'll start with the interview now. So Rinpoche, thank you for joining me and all of us. We were just
Most
talking
welcome.
before we came on. We were just talking about lockdown and that in Nepal you're in partial lockdown. I think you were saying, and
Yes.
I thought, Rinpoche, you must be an expert at lockdown actually. And I was wondering how life has changed for you.
For me, during this lockdown, I have wonderful time. In fact, I'm doing kind of like loosely style of retreat, and I'm reading the Buddhist philosophy ancient books that I study in the monastery college in Shirapling Monastery in India for 9 years. So then after that, I was busy traveling many places around the world, and I didn't have time to read that. I went to retreat in the mountain, but I haven't brought the books. So now I have time to go through all these texts. Wonderful, wonderful.
Which books are you reading, Rinpoche? What are the titles?
I read first is Abhidharma, and then after that I read the Madhyamaka, and now I'm reading the Prancha Paramita. So Abhidharma is about the mind and matter, and the Madhyamaka is about the emptiness, and the Prancha Paramita is the wisdom, the recognition of emptiness, more the experiential aspect.
And then Rinpoche, what does part retreat look like? How do you structure, part retreat? How do you do that?
So I do like sometimes 3 sessions for day, 4 sessions for day, but I teach on online, and people cannot come in, but sometimes I teach to the, we have here the monastery college monks. I teach to the monks. And also I make kind of like grow vegetables. My mom is next to us, so we have organic vegetable.
Wow, so you're growing vegetables as well, Rinpoche. And so does at the monastery are they eating your vegetables, or who gets to eat Rinpoche's vegetables?
Once in a while. We have more than 100 monks here, so from my farm cannot fit everybody. It has to have how many kilo? I think 17 kilo of vegetable. So I cannot find all this every day.
So Rinpoche, it seems like you're balancing study and practice quite really nicely. And so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the importance of, or the relationship between study and practice.
Yeah, so excuse me. So first, of course, we need to learn. Even when we want to practice meditation, we need to learn about how to meditate. What is the principle? So what we call view, meditation, application. The view is the basic principle. Meditation, how to bring this into experience. Application, apply in everyday life. So you have to know about those things. Then you have to practice. And as you practice, you will get deeper meaning, maybe about the awareness. So first you learn awareness is just conceptual level. When you practice become experience. Then you look at the text. Wow. Sometimes you find a same sentence, same word, but completely different. You know more. Why? I didn't understand that before, Actually, it's just there. So that helps kind of like meditation. Again, practice. study, practice, I think that's really beneficial.
So they're supporting each other, and from practice, you can really understand what the text is saying. You get a deeper meaning, it seems, experiential.
Yeah, yeah. So combination between practice and the study actually is got deeper. So kind of what um, upward spiral,
Yeah.
more and more kind of like understand the meaning of the meditation, meaning of nature of reality. Yes.
And then Rinpoche, you were talking about view meditation application. And I think it's very interesting you use the word application for Chöpa, yeah? And sometimes
Yes.
we hear conduct. And I like this term application. Can you tell us a little bit why you choose the term application in this case?
So in Tibetan, what we call Chöpa meaning applying, kind of like doing, applying. So for for me, application is the right word. But conduct is more like right and wrong, kind of like there's some kind of like more about the rules. But here, the real meaning, the view and the meditation that you need to apply in your life. So application meaning if you are practicing awareness or love and compassion or wisdom, whatever you practice, that need to apply in everyday life, special when you're facing emotional problem or situational problem. So transform what we call clashes and suffering into the path. So that is the application.
And then Rinpoche, what are the signs, or how can you tell that you're applying or doing application successfully? How would we know in ourselves or in someone else? How would we know that it's working?
In the text, what we call true witness. True witness meaning yourself and other. So from your side, you'll become more calm, peaceful, more open, more compassionate. So the destructive emotions and the suffering, you're less suffer actually. Your mind become more peaceful, more flexible. So these are the really good sign from your side. And from others, they will see you're transforming. You'll become more kind. You'll become more open, flexible for them. You'll become more kind of like humble, but there is the kind of like um, contentment. Yes.
Contentment, that's a nice word. Rinpoche, when your books and your courses, you're often talking about, so your most recent book called In Love with the World, or the other course is like joy of living. And Rinpoche, every time I've encountered you, you seem very happy. And I was wondering what happiness means to you. Do you have like a definition of happiness?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wrote the book, The Joy of Living, the first one, and now recently the In Love with the World. In Love with the World is about my journey to retreat, and special at the beginning I almost died, so that's a great experience. So for me, the joy or happiness is an experience of contentment, an experience of appreciation, gratitude, peace, which is no need to depend on the outside circumstances. So that comes within yourself. So in the past, since I learned meditation since when I was 9, so there's in the meditation text, and the teachers always said you have this wonderful nature. Your nature is present, pure, luminous. But of course, when I meditate, I experience something like that. But then for me, the experience almost died when I went for the wandering retreat. That time, the sense, all the sense were dissolved. The body become paralyzed. In the end, mind becomes so peaceful. There's no kind of like thought like now, now our mind is narrow and thinking about something like that table, that chocolate or whatever. It's mind go there. But in that moment, it's so open and free. Everything appear like reflection appear in the leg. So of course, at the beginning, we cannot find something like that. But for me, the real happiness is within us.
So happiness is within us, and it's this very open, free sort of perspective. And Rinpoche, another quality that you seem to have is this carefreeness, right? This like relaxed carefreeness. And I was wondering, but it's not careless, it's concerned with others. And so I was wondering if you could talk to a little bit to the difference between being carefree versus and not falling into being, careless or not caring.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, normally in the meditation tradition, what we call the view and the conduct has to be union, meaning the view free, carefree, so such open. We believe everybody has a wonderful nature and we all have enlightened nature. Everything is emptiness. Emptiness meaning not nothing, there's a luminosity. A union of empty and luminosity, that's who we are. So, and then from that aspect, everything's pure. So what we call samsara is nirvana. So there's no mistake. There's no bad karma. We don't have to worry about all this. So view is free. But the action, what we call fine as barley flower, in Tibet we have zamba. Zamba is a barley flower. So has to be really follow to the relative level. So kind of like follow the kind, compassion, and awareness bring into the action. Otherwise, what we call, if our view follow to our action, then our mind become very tight. This is right. This is wrong. Oh, I did mistake today. Oh, that's the bad karma. Oh, that's no good. That's the wrong view. So too tight. But then if we follow our action to the view, then become careless. We will not become carefree. So normally what we call has to be union together.
And so then Rinpoche, this practice and this like place of joy, this place of happiness, it seems like the way you describe it has a close relationship with awakening. Can you talk about the relationship between happiness or joy as you talk about it and awakening?
Yeah, I think this, what I call the real happiness or the joy, which is within us. So it is not that we need to make our true nature. We don't have happiness before we have to create happiness. It's not like that. So whole purpose of the path is what we call recognizing who you are, recognizing nature of yourself. So there's mainly three practices, all the path, what we call awareness, love and compassion, and wisdom. So for example, awareness, when we more connected with the awareness, then the suffering, clashes, the mental disturbance. When I was young, I had panic attacks. Nowadays, everybody has stress, depression. Now the global having the pandemic, a lot of problems, suffering around us, with us. So we cannot get rid of these mental sufferings, these fears, just wanting to get rid of them. Like if we say, don't worry, we worry more. If we say, don't think about pizza, then what happens? The pizza comes. Only think about the pizza. So that's our normal mind, what we call crazy monkey mind. But then we have to know the secret of our own mind. So the secret is through the awareness. So awareness meaning knowing. So your mind, your consciousness has particular quality, which is awake actually, clear and knowing. In the meditation text, what we call the definition of mind is clear and knowing. But normally, if we not be with our own mind, then we will trap with the monkey mind. But then to be with your own mind, that's I think beginning of awakening.
Very nice, Rinpoche. Thank you. Can you tell us a little bit more about the difference between clarity, clear, and the knowing aspect of mind, the cell and Rick?
Yes. So clear and knowing is so mind has the aspect of knowing. So that knowing, now you know me, right? You are looking at me through this video. You know that you are seeing me, and you know you're hearing. So knowing can manifest through eyes, can see, through the ear, can hear, and bodily also smell, taste, sensation, and then thought, emotion, all this are knowing. But the essence of knowing, there's a clarity, clear. It's like lamp. So when there's a lamp, the lamp has two qualities. One, the lamp can illuminate things around. If there's a cup next to the lamp, you can see the cup because of the lamp. But at the same time, the lamp has quality of self-illuminating, the self-luminosity. Lamp is the light. You don't need to use flashlight to see the lamp itself. Cup always need to rely on the light to see the cup. But the lamp is the light. So our mind is just like that. So knowing things around and itself is clarity, the self-luminosity.
Yeah, so this self-luminosity is important. So your analogy is when we want to look for a lamp, we don't need another lamp to look for a lamp because it's already a light, right? Whereas if you're in a dark room, you need a lamp to see other things. So this is a difference between a cup and a lamp. And then, Rinpoche, I was thinking the difference between like luminosity, clarity, and knowing. Could we say a mirror? So a mirror has, when it reflects something, mirror, it reflects something, we can say it like has luminosity, not clarity in a way, because it can reflect, but it doesn't know what it reflects, so it doesn't have knowing. Would that be accurate analogy, Rinpoche?
Yeah, something like that. We can use many examples. So what we can use our true nature, any example, but it match partiality, some part of that. So example and the meaning, of course, cannot completely match. Otherwise, you cannot use as example.
Yes.
Some part match, some part doesn't match. You're right.
And so, Rinpoche, is there a difference between the clarity and self-luminosity, or is it one? Like this, when you said the definition of mind is clarity and knowing, and then you also, when you talked about clarity, you started to talk about self-luminosity. Are we making a distinction here? How are they related, clarity and luminosity?
Yeah, it's same actually. Clarity, luminosity, actually same, but it is Buddha taught three big teachings, like three training wheel of the Dharma. So first, Buddha taught about the mind knows object. So definition of mind is taking object. It has to have object. And then second teaching of Buddha said, everything is emptiness. So mind is emptiness, form is emptiness, everything is emptiness. And the last teaching of Buddha particular focus on the luminosity. So the knowing object, and at the same time, the empty, and also luminosity, they all are one, actually.
Yes, so this is how we relate emptiness to this luminosity and knowing. They're all related, right? They are one entity in a way. Would you say like Moa Chico, something like that? Yeah.
Yes.
And then, so Rinpoche, then what about thoughts? How does thought relate to these idea of clarity, knowing, emptiness? Then if we think of the mind and we think of thoughts, what is the relationship between thought and these things?
So thought is just like cloud in the sky. The awareness, awareness or the consciousness, the fundamental, the quality of the consciousness, mind is the same. So the awareness is normally what we call is like sky, and thought, emotion, perception, memory, feeling, all these are the cloud in the sky. So normally what happens is there's a beautiful cloud, ugly cloud, look nice, pleasant cloud, or maybe sometimes cloud become tornado or hurricane, lot of storm, lightning, but all are in the sky. And the sky is always present, free. The cloud cannot change the nature of sky. Sky is always peaceful, free, pure. So the awareness, our fundamental quality of the mind, the awareness, which is the knowing, or you can say clarity, you can say luminosity, is just like sky. And that is with us all the time, with me, right now, right here. You are listening to my talk, you are looking at me, you are in that wonderful awareness. But normally, we don't know that. We are lost in the thought and emotion.
This is a nice analogy, Rinpoche, the sky and the clouds. Thank you. And so then the relationship, so thoughts are like the cloud and sky is like the luminosity, right? And
yeah, the mind, the basic mind, your fundamental quality of your mind, yes. And so normally then, what I call awareness.
Okay, so then if we ask what's the relationship between awareness and thought, so the cloud and the sky in the analogy, and it seems like maybe I have this question. So some like Mudra masters you'll hear, they say like the nature of the thought is Dhammakaya. So it seems like in the cloud you find the sky in a way, like they say like Nam Tok Ngo, Choku Sung, the quote. But then so you hear some Dzogchen masters and they'll say, well, unless the thought is self-liberated as it arises, we can't say that it's Dhammakaya. And so Rinpoche, I was wondering, what are the difference? What are they getting at here?
The main point is same. One is talking from the viewpoint. One is talking from the meditation experience point. Viewpoint, everything is Dharmakaya, including thought, including cup, including you, including me. Everything is Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya meaning the fundamental quality of us, our true nature. So that's the Dharmakaya. That's the viewpoint. Whether you recognize the Dharmakaya or whether you not recognize Dharmakaya, it doesn't matter. You are Dharmakaya. Whether you believe in Dharmakaya or not, doesn't matter. You are Dharmakaya. Whether you believe in gravity or not, gravity is always there, right?
Yes.
So that's from the viewpoint. But from the experiential point, if you not recognize the Dharmakaya, then thought not become Dharmakaya. Thought become just thought. It's monkey mind. But if we that's for you, for your experience level. But if you recognize, then thought is Dharmakaya. So the difference is the recognition or not, recognize or not. It's not about the thought. Thought is the same.
Oh, nice, Rinpoche. So the Ma Mudra instruction is like from the view perspective, and the Dzogchen instruction is from the experience perspective. Is that right?
Yeah.
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 Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. Now, so there's so many different types of teachings, so many different ways to come at the Dharma. Some teaches this way, some teaches that way, all to the same essence, right? And so
Yeah.
the Buddha taught 84,000 different teachings. And so I was wondering, where do we start, especially if we want to take the first step and we want to step straight into the essence of practice, straight into the essence? How do we take that first step?
Yeah. So if we really want to go direct to the essence, there are three essence. All the essence of 84,000 Buddha's teaching come down into three. So awareness, love and compassion, and the wisdom. So this is the thread from the first of the 84,000 teaching of the last of the 84,000 teaching. And what we call the first teaching of Buddha, second teaching of Buddha, last teaching of Buddha, or foundational yana, the great yana, Mahayana, or the Vajrayana, is same, is the thread. So if we go right into that, if you really want to go into the practice, this is really important.
And so, Rinpoche, can you tell us a little bit more about how to actually do that? And then how does that relate to our daily life, like getting up and going to work or working from home in these days?
There are many different kind of like style of the teaching in the Tibet. So what we call monastic style, scholar style, and the experiential style, hermitage style, grandpa, grandma style, and the household style. So many styles. So normally what I teach is the experiential style combined with the grandpa, grandma style, because nowadays everybody busy, as you said.
Yes.
We have to do work, right? And we are busy and lazy also. So for that, I think first you try to connect with awareness. So that's what we call shamatha meditation. And once you have some experience, then you connect with the love and compassion. And then third, you can connect with the wisdom. So I think that's the step-by-step. Normally we have that. So this will be really good. Then you can bring that in your life. What we call, you can meditate everywhere, anytime, with anything. And special, these meditations comes with the view, meditation, and application. The view to understand the basic, the principles, and meditation to bring into the experience your practice meditation, and application apply in everyday life, whether it's awareness or love and compassion or wisdom.
So nice, Rinpoche. And that practice can go with us then, or those view meditation application, right?
Yes.
Rinpoche, last time we spoke in the podcast, it was not long after your come back from retreat, and you were talking about the way you wanted to approach teaching, and you were talking about this different styles, actually, similar sort of thing, and different personalities, being mind personality, speech personality, body personality, and focusing on whether you emphasize sensations or labeling or the physicality of breathing. And I was wondering, Rinpoche, how that teaching, how that is going, introducing that into with your students, and if you're developing that more in your Dharma teaching style.
Yeah. So I lay out some kind of like curriculum, because nowadays the Buddhism is really rich in content. There's so much practice, especially Tibetan Buddhism. is kind of like dramatic. There's a lot of different practices. So these practices we can explore according to your personality, as we discussed last time. 3 personality: mind personality, speech personality, body, mind, speech personality. We have also 5 personality also. So different personality you can explore. And also according to your culture, your belief. So there's various things. But at the same time, some people lost the essence. So when you receive one particular teaching, you think, oh, this is very good. But then you receive teaching from another teacher, which is a little bit contradiction of what you learned before. This one better, or that one better, or that one also good, that one also good. In the end, you open all the options, but you cannot practice. Oh, this deity is better, or that mantra is better, that doctrine is better, that Mahamudra is better, that lineage is better. So lost. So I make some kind of like path, which is there 8 levels. So in this, I lay out based on the experiential lineage and the grandpa, grandma lineage in the Tibet. So first 3 level is what I call joy of living workshop, kind of like. So they have to do that workshop. Then they have to apply practice, homework. So level 1 is awareness. Level 2 is love and compassion. Level 3 is wisdom. And this is a foundation practice, secular basis, whether you are a Buddhist or not Buddhist, religion, you have religion or not, doesn't matter. And I have that plan before I went to retreat. But then after I come back, I look at my own video, I talk a lot. I talk for 45 minutes. Then what I see is some student is quite interesting. Some student fell into sleep. So what I found is during my retreat, it's really important to really emphasize about view, meditation, application, 3 together. So last time we discussed with you, that time I'm wanting to make that one, to really make it simple, at the point, and not just intellectual understanding, but there's experience. So intellectual understanding is the view, but they bring into experience the meditation. And then apply everyday life is the application. So now I have made video, not more than 15 minutes, between 8 to 15 minutes, and always a 3 part, how to work together. So I think this is now, I done the level 1 and 2 already. So now process on the level 3.
And then Rinpoche, that will lead up to the eight levels you're planning. Is that correct? And so,
yes, so this 3 is the kind of basic level, foundation, fundamental, also essential part of meditation also. Then there's 5, what I call path of liberation. So these 5 levels are really exploring your true nature, the essence of awareness, sometimes what we call Buddha nature, the sky, as I mentioned before, the cloud and the sky. And we really explore the sky itself, how to see our true nature of mind practice, all these 5 levels. And after that, you will become Buddha.
job done.
No, I'm just kidding. After that, you have full kind of like practice level, you have full instruction. So then if you have teacher, okay. If you don't have teacher there, also okay. You can go into the mountain, you can practice. You have enough kind of like full entire body of the practice teaching.
So that will give you everything to get the job done, but you have to still do the job, right?
Still have to do the job.
Wonderful. So I think, Rinpoche, if people want to connect with that stream of teachings, it's at Turga website, right? Is that where they should go? Because people will ask us, no doubt.
Yeah.
So we'll put a link in the chat for people.
Yeah, Turga Tergat.org, I think.
Turgar.org. Okay, we'll put the link in the chat. So Rinpoche, and then the last time we were talking, you were explaining about your overcoming anxiety, which has been a very helpful story for everyone to hear. And part of that journey, you talked about making friends with your anxiety, your fear. And but also not being a stupid friend, just giving the fear and anxiety what it wants. And after we spoke, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if this approach will work for all the emotions. Like for anger, I was thinking, how does one make friends with anger? And I wanted to ask you that question, Rinpoche. So can you speak a little bit, like explain about how you make friends with fear and how that works? And then if that can be applied to other afflictions.
Yeah. So as you said, I had the panic attacks that was developed when I was very young, around 8, 9 years old. Then I learned meditation from my father. So one of the first my meditation practice is the mental recitation, meaning reciting a word in the mind. So I recite the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, like mantra of the compassion Buddha. And another is the watch the breath, breathing in, breathing out. And I feel very bored. I really want to get rid of my panic. By what my father teach me is watch the breath. Watch this boring breath. And every day same thing. Watching, breathing in, breathing out. Again, tomorrow, breathing in, breathing out. Fell into sleep. So, but I believe my father, so I tried to do that. So then my father said, if you really want to work with the other panic, the practice is same thing. Watch your panic, just like watching the breath. So I kind of like build connection with the meditation. Actually, I make connection with my awareness through the breathing meditation. So the essence of meditation is what we call awareness of the breath. Knowing breathing in, breathing out, just simply knowing. And then I change, instead the breath, I use a panic. So watch panic. Oh, sometimes panic become bigger, of course. It's very interesting. So now it's like when you are in the river, you know you're in the river somehow you are in the river, but you are carried by a river. You're in the river. You don't see river actually. But when you see the river, that means you're out of river. But the river is still there. So I see panic, but at the same time, there's space between me and panic. Sometimes I cannot see panic. There's a gap. I cannot find panic. Wonderful. So normally what I call, this is a new term now because sometimes people doesn't get it. So now I develop a new term, horizontal liberation or vertical liberation. So horizontal meaning when you look at the panic, you can see panic. Like when you see the river is still there. So, sorry, not that the one. Horizontal meaning when you look at the panic, there's a gap. So between past and the future, there's a gap. Look at the panic, you cannot find panic. Or people like that, now panic, I'm free from panic. But there's only one way to liberate panic. Another is a vertical liberation, meaning when you look at the panic is there. Panic no need to disappear. But there's space between you and panic. So the liberation comes vertical.
Wow.
Front and back.
Yeah.
Not the past and future.
Yeah.
So that really helps me. Then, of course, after 5 years of work, in the end, I make my panic become my friend, become best friend, my teacher also. And after that, panic is gone. Panic said bye-bye. So I miss my friend. But what I found is in our life, there's so many problems. So you can use same thing with the depression. Sometimes feel depressed, lost energy, interest for a while, Sometimes it happened to me sometime, a little bit tired, lazy, kind of like, be with that. And that depression is in the awareness. So you don't need to push away. You don't need to control that depression. You don't have to get rid of. You just be with it. There's a lot of sensation going on. And then same thing, when you watch your breath becomes support for your meditation. Now you can watch your depression becomes support for your meditation. Maybe you cannot find depression, horizontal liberation. Maybe you can see the depression, you can be with the depression. That is the vertical liberation. So stress also. And also, sometimes I met many people, and some people have the low self-esteem, feeling bad about yourself, phobia, and also physical pain, sickness also. We can be with the sickness. And then awareness is like sky, is holding the sickness. But then you are bigger than the sickness. You are not the sickness. Automatically, you don't have to make separation. It automatically becomes big.
Wow. So Rinpoche, this vertical liberation, it's the affliction or the anger or the depression, it becomes is it support for the meditation? Actually, it becomes support for the meditation. I like the image of the river, stepping back and watching the river and having the separation, but it's more than that, like you're saying. Or if we use the sky and clouds, maybe we can use this. The sort of like the depression is like the cloud, and then you step back and that's the sky. But actually you can be vertical liberation. You find liberation even while the cloud is there, right?
Yep.
Wow.
That's the key point.
Yeah.
That's the key point. So what we call here in the special in the Mahamudra and the Dzogchen teaching is the self-liberation. Self-liberation, self-antidote, meaning depression can become cause of liberation. And we don't need to get rid of depression. We don't need to change or control anything. Just leave it as it is and you are free. So this is the really what we call the best antidote is the self-antidote. If you look for antidote and try to get rid of the problem, then you need to fight always, If you need to fight, then there's sometimes win, sometimes loss. But if the problem becomes solution or your enemy become your best friend, then there's no enemy, no fighting. So that's the best antidote.
So then you're stepping sideways out of that dualism in a way. You're escaping that dualism. Yeah. And then there seems to be, so the important component in this practice of vertical liberation is awareness. It seems that like there's a link between this luminosity and self-liberation. Can you talk a little bit about the link between luminosity and self-liberation?
Yeah. So sky is always liberated. We don't need to liberate again in a way. Sky is always free, isn't it? No matter how much cloud comes, no matter how much pollution there in the sky, the nature of sky cannot be polluted. The pollution cannot change the nature of sky. Or even there's a bright light or the dark kind of like haze. It doesn't change the nature of the sky. So sky is always present, pure, free, peaceful. So similarly, we have this awareness right now, right here. It's free, present, pure, peaceful, genuine. But problem is, we don't know how to be with that. We are lost into thought, emotion, perception, memory. That's the dualistic mind. These are the monkey mind. So now how to connect with the sky itself? How to connect with our true nature? So through awareness. It's a one way, another through love and compassion, or through wisdom. So now we talk about the through awareness. So awareness meaning knowing. So without knowing, how you can watch me, how you can listen my talk, isn't it? So knows what you are thinking, feeling, knows what you are doing. That's awareness. Actually, your consciousness, right?
Yeah.
You experience that. So that need to connect with that. We need to connect with that. But at the beginning, it's very difficult to connect with that. So we have to use object. So we can use breath at the beginning, knowing the breath. By knowing breath, of course, you recognize awareness. Awareness is just knowing. So be with that. So then that is the become the clarity eventually. That is the clarity and that is the luminosity. And eventually you will recognize more and more. And there's a unlimited discovery within yourself.
Very nice. Rinpoche, it seems like part of this practice, one of the things that gets in the way are hopes and fears about the practice, actually, or just general hopes and fears. I was wondering if you think that is true, that these things can get in the way, and then what to do with those, how to deal with hopes and fears in the practice.
Be with the hope and fear. So hope and fear is another cloud. So if you try to get rid of hope and fear, no hope and fear, no hope and fear, confident, that's quite difficult. Then hope and fear is always there, like no pizza, more pizza. But then hope and fear is also another cloud. You can use that. Be with the hope and fear. Now hope and fear become object of your meditation. Maybe become vertical liberation, maybe horizontal liberation. So everything can be support for your meditation in the end. There's no obstacle. Only obstacle is we forget. we forget to be with awareness.
Yeah, so it's very flexible, this practice. It's like, I think and you have to become an all-terrain vehicle. No matter what comes up, that becomes part of the practice, right?
Yes.
But you have to remember to practice. That's the main thing, yeah? And so,
yes.
Is that just setting intention? How do you keep that continuity within the practice without forgetting to practice? Yeah.
Yeah, first what we have to recognize awareness. So the introduction of awareness, meaning just recognize your awareness. So I already introduced you. So
Yes,
maybe I will, maybe now I will do examination on those of you watching the video, right? So I will ask 3 questions. But this is the examination of awareness, so you don't have to worry about fail, Nobody will fail in the awareness. So you will pass. So don't worry about it. So my question is, now how many of you recognize awareness? I already introduced you awareness, right? So how many of you think you recognize awareness? Raise your hand. I hope you raise your hand. I don't see you. Second is, how many of you think, oh, you are not recognize awareness? Raise your hand. Okay. Third, how many of you think, maybe yes, maybe no, who knows, confused? If you're confused, raise your hand. Okay. So now the result is all of you are pass. All of you are pass. So you might wonder, how can I pass? Because these questions are contradiction, right? You recognize awareness and not recognize awareness. This is a contradiction. If you say you recognize awareness, you pass, of course, right? I introduce awareness, you recognize your past. But some of you say, I'm not recognize awareness, isn't it? So how come you can pass also? So let me ask you a question. When you say, I'm not recognize awareness, do you know that? Do you know that you are not recognized? If you know you are not recognized, that is awareness. Awareness just knowing. And third, some of you might say, I'm not sure, right? So if you know you're not sure, that is also awareness. So awareness is just knowing. So that is really important to understand. Your fundamental quality of your mind is clear and knowing. So first, recognize awareness. Second, then maintain that recognition. You can maintain that recognition with the breath, with the sound, with the smell, with the sensation, with the thought, with emotion, with anything. Nothing which cannot become support for your awareness. So in a way, so normally what we call, there are two styles of meditation. One is the object-oriented and another is subject-oriented. The object-oriented meaning the breath is important. Don't get lost the breath. If thought the pizza comes, don't think about pizza, breath. Be with the breath. So that is what we call object-oriented. The object is important. But now in the Mahamudra tradition, the subject is the awareness. The awareness, knowing is important. Object doesn't matter. When you watch breath and the pizza comes, you can watch pizza also. So you don't have to worry, oh, no pizza, only breath. Because everything can be support for awareness. So this is what we call the subject-oriented meditation.
Very nice, Rinpoche. Such a profound understanding of knowing, what knowing is, awareness. I was wondering, Rinpoche, we are going to have another conversation with Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. Not this Friday, next Friday, we'll have this conversation. Yeah. And then we're going to invite a whole heap of scientists to come, and we're going to talk with scientists and all these experts. And you've had a long history of talking to scientists. And I'm wondering, when you talk to scientists about these very profound insights into what awareness is and what knowing is, how do those conversations go?
I have a lot of discussion with the neuroscientist, one Richard Davison. He really interested in this kind of exploring this kind of like topic. So in science, when you recognize the awareness, be with the awareness, so what they call is meta awareness. But normally, if there's a certain kind of awareness, infusion awareness, something, you are lost into the thought and emotion. But then there's a bigger precept, bigger kind of like be with the thought and emotion, whatever you're doing, is the meta awareness. So there's a kind of like a lot of interesting things there. And of course, there's a lot of things about the brain and how perception works. So these are very interesting.
Is this meta-awareness, is it the same thing as the luminosity you're talking about? The lamp is self-luminous, or is it something a little different?
The luminosity has many different levels. So what I'm discussing now, just recognizing your fundamental quality of your mind, the knowing, that's the first step. Then there's a kind of like a non-judgmental or non-conceptual luminosity. And then there's the nature of mind in the end, the real kind of like fundamental, the essence of our mind. So luminosity has many different levels. So I think it's very similar as what I'm talking about. The meta-awareness is very similar as just being with the things. You are being or observing things coming in and going. And that is the first step of the meditation.
Thank you, Rinpoche. I put a link. We put a link in the chat so people can join that discussion with us with Tenzin Wangyur Rinpoche, which will be very, very nice. So Rinpoche,
Yes.
our time's coming towards the end, but I saw a photo of you in Nepal doing a puja with many Rinpoches, and I was actually, we might show the photo. I think we can just show it so everyone can see what I'm talking about. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what you're doing here and what's the purpose of this sort of puja. So I think people can
Yes.
see the image now. Can you see the image, Rinpoche?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I can see on my laptop. So we did the kind of like pray special for pandemic, for world peace, and this is special for fire puja. So we did many different Rinpoches together, and 4 different place, 4 direction in Kathmandu. Yeah.
So this is for world peace, Rinpoche, and it's a fire puja.
Yes. Yes.
And was this specifically to help with like COVID problems or just a general world peace? What was there a specific intention?
Both.
Both. Wonderful.
Both. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Rinpoche. Thank you for being so generous with your wisdom and sharing it with all of us. I think now we will have a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back in 5 minutes and do the question and answer session. Does that sound good? Was there anything
Very
else
good.
you wanted to share before we go to break?
Very good. Thank
Okay.
you. Very good question.
Thank you, Rinpoche. See you soon.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everyone. And Rinpoche is going to join us shortly. Thank you for all the questions. My goodness, we have well over 100 questions, and we have 1,000 people joining us. So thank you for everyone joining us. And Rinpoche, we have so many questions, so I'm going to get started. See how many we can do.
Yes.
So this is a nice question. View meditation and application the same as the three trainings in early Buddhism: Shila, Samadhi, Prajna. What's the relationship?
Yeah, very similar actually. So view is the prancha, and the meditation is samadhi, and the shila is application. Yeah.
So direct relationship there. That's nice. Then there's a question about, or did you have more to say on that one, Rinpoche?
But for the, that is general for the Tripitaka. And here we can relate to the every part of the meditation. So to understand, view begin by cognitive understanding, then go beyond cognitive, kind of like beyond dualistic mind in the end. And the meditation begin by experience, begin with the feeling, the heart level, sometimes what we call head and heart, right? So the view begin by head, experience begin by heart, and need to combine this together, apply in everyday life. That's the application.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Someone was asking, they thought the mind always has an object. So what does these terms meditate without an object, or what does it mean, like the sky without clouds? They're a little bit confused because they always thought the mind has to have an object.
The first teaching of Buddha said mind meaning taking the object. So according to the early teaching of a Buddha, there's a citta, cittasika, meaning the mind, the consciousness and mental factors. They all have object, has to have object. But then later Buddha teachings, Buddha begin to talk about emptiness, and especially in the end, Buddha taught about the luminosity. So no need to necessarily to have object. Like lamp, of course, lamp illuminate object around, but the lamp is illuminated by itself. No need to rely on somebody to illuminate you. So it is self-luminosity. So in that case, no need to have two, subject and object.
So the next question is related to this self-luminosity. Is the self-luminosity permanent, always there? And if it is, how is this different from Atman? And what is reborn? Actually, the question is, what is reborn as well?
Yes, self-luminosity we never say is permanent. Of course, it's not impermanent, but it's not permanent. So it's beyond permanent and impermanent. And what we call beyond 4 boxes. So normally permanent, impermanent, maybe both or neither. So the awareness, self-luminosity is beyond this 4. It's not permanent, but not impermanent. Not both, not neither. So it's beyond concept. But good thing, it is you. It is your own mind. So you don't need to use conceptual mind. You can experience it, be with that.
Very nice. Rinpoche, this subject is about loving kindness and compassion. And the person is saying, when meditating on compassion and loving kindness and bodhicitta, wishing all beings to be free from suffering, it seems very overwhelming and almost impossible. So how does one do this with this feeling?
Yeah. So what we call normally compassion need wisdom. So compassion need to join with the wisdom eventually. So the wisdom, like the first teaching of Buddha, the real wisdom is recognition of impermanent, anicca. So everything is changing and changing. So all beings are impermanent. Everything's changing. Life is up and down, like wave of the ocean. Life is like stock market. So understand that way, understanding the impermanence, you can think about suffering also impermanent. Then you can have compassion, but then you will not trap into the pain. Because sometimes compassion without wisdom, sometimes painful. You may become overwhelmed. And then from the second teaching was the thought about the emptiness. So actually, all beings are emptiness, and suffering is also emptiness. So, but we are not recognized, we all are emptiness. Then what happened? We experience the suffering is real. So we are trapped in the dualistic perception, subject and object, time and matter. So this is why it's suffering. So we put ourselves into our own prison. So actually there's no suffering, but the beings are not recognized. Suffering is emptiness. Oh, so using emptiness as kind of a reason to understand love and compassion, send love and compassion to all beings. Then eventually what we call union of emptiness and love and compassion. So that love and compassion become boundless. And you will not trap in the conceptual pain, but at the same time, love and compassion become very strong and genuine. But then if you feel like you cannot understand impermanent emptiness, that this knowledge and experience are not so strong, then sometimes take a break, what we call, don't practice for a while, for a few days, do something else. And then you have to kind of like try to join together with the wisdom, little bit.
Oh, so that's nice. This union of emptiness and compassion is needed for this practice. Then Rinpoche, a similar question, related question is, does awareness, does it have care? Does it care naturally? Is love already there in just awareness, like in the sky?
Yes, the love, compassion, wisdom, all are there in the awareness. So when we really be with awareness, awareness is really open and free. It is allowing, there's no hatred. You don't have to get rid of anything. There's nothing to block away, push away. So everything is welcoming. A real kind of like forgiveness, a real sense of kind to yourself, kind to others. And this eventually may manifest stronger and stronger through the awareness.
And then, Rinpoche, there's another question around the relationship between the awareness and emptiness, how they are related.
So emptiness is the the nature of reality, So whether you recognize or not, the nature of phenomena are emptiness. Whether Buddha taught emptiness or not, the nature of phenomena is emptiness. Just like I mentioned before about the gravity. Whether you believe in gravity or not, there is gravity. So that is emptiness. The awareness is from the experiential aspect, the knowing, the being, the experience aspect. So we can say one is the general kind of like foundation of fundamental nature of all of us, and the awareness is begin to recognize that. When we practice awareness, we begin to recognize that. But in the end, there's no difference.
Rinpoche, this question is about emotions and dealing with difficult situations. And the question is how best to deal with these emotions when they come up. And specifically, is it okay to express these emotions? Is it good to cry? Is it good to express them? Or what other ways we can deal with these emotions?
I think the first you need to learn some basic form of meditation, like breathing meditation. So try to understand, recognize awareness, and get some experience of meditation, maybe with the breathing, knowing, breathing out, breathing in, or listen to sound. Maybe some people, sound meditation is easy. Knowing the sound, be with the sound, or a mental recitation. Say some word in your mind with silence, not from your mouth, but in your mind. You can have any word or mantra. So do that few weeks, maybe a month. If you are completely new to meditation, then eventually be with the emotion. So just be with the breath, right? So it doesn't matter. Shallow breath, deep breath, kind of painful breath, peaceful breath. Doesn't matter. Just be whatever breath. Now be with whatever emotion. Just be with that. So at the beginning, sometime emotion becomes stronger. Then don't try, if you feel overwhelmed with a strong emotion, don't try with the big emotion. You can try small emotion. So when I was young, I have panic attacks. So panic is my major emotion. So I didn't try with the panic sometimes because overwhelmed. So I try with the anger. Anger is not my major problem. So easy. Oh, I can be with anger. It's kind of like you can learn, like stepping stone. What do you call it? So then eventually the big emotion become friend with the big emotion. Big emotion becomes support for your meditation, just like breath. And that might become vertical liberation or horizontal liberation.
Very nice. Thank you, Rinpoche. The next question is about Tonglen. And so this person is practicing Tonglen. There's a few questions on Tonglen, actually. This person's practicing Tonglen. And the first question is it dangerous to be taking on the other suffering? And the second question is, what if you don't feel like up to taking it on? Is it okay not to do it? So Rinpoche, I was wondering if first maybe you can explain what is Tonglen meditation practice.
Yeah, Tonglen meaning taking and sending. So you take others' suffering or others' non-virtue, bad karma, whatever. And when you take others' bad karma or suffering, that is become virtue. That is what we call accumulating the merit. So that virtue you send to them, you give it virtue to them, and giving virtue them also become more virtue. Plus you take again, then you have more virtue and you can send that again. So it's become like circle of the virtues. So that's the Tonglen. So actually, when you do Tonglen, Tong meaning sending, Len meaning taking. When you do this practice, there's no danger at all. Actually, everything transforms. What we call the main causes of the negativity or suffering is the ego clinging, the selfish nature. Ego with the harmful mind. And that is become really a big problem. But Tonglen is become opposite of that. So that become accumulate virtue. So, but at the same time, having saying that, but some people still not ready to do that. So then if you feel not ready to do that, then don't worry now. So you can do normally what we call, you can do Tonglen with yourself. You can do Tonglen with your past or your future, or easy one, Tonglen with the simple, nice people first, or something like that.
Nice advice, Rinpoche. Thank you. So next question is around, Rinpoche told many times about death and dying. He said the process is similar to when we fall asleep. So it's important to keep conscious during this process of falling asleep. I'm finding this very difficult, trying to stay conscious when falling asleep. Is there any advice or different methods to try at this point?
Yeah, this Death and Dying, I wrote very clear instruction in Love with the World, my last book. So there's a lot of various techniques there, how you can practice that, the sleeping meditation, very detailed. Maybe you can look at that. But basically, not conscious about the process of the sleeping. But the main thing is be with the meditation. So be with the awareness, and sleep. But of course, it's very difficult at the beginning. If you try every night, maybe after 1 or 2 months, one time, even it's difficult. But but if your mind too tight, you cannot sleep. So especially if you have sleeping problem, then you need to do one particular meditation, which is what we call awareness of the body. You can scan your body, just relax all the muscles. Relax meaning if you cannot relax, then allow that you cannot relax. So when you allow that you cannot relax, that means you are relaxing. And then in the end, feel the gravity in the body. We all have gravity, isn't it? When you relax, your hand fall down. So we have gravity. So feel with the gravity. And that is good for sleep also. And just be with the gravity. Also, awareness of that is the awareness of the feeling of gravity, also meditation. So that may become sleeping meditation.
Nice. I like this gravity for sleeping. That's nice. So Rinpoche, next question is around, is there a difference between awareness and consciousness? Are these two things different or the same?
Same, actually same. But sometime in the Abhidharma, the awareness is one part of the consciousness. Then we have this Abhidharma, the Mahayana Abhidharma. Eventually, they are inseparable. So now for us, in my tradition of meditation, awareness meaning the basic consciousness also, or the mind, there's no difference. So that means you all have awareness. 24 hours plus essence of meditation is what we call awareness. That means you all are meditating 24 hours. Wonderful, no? No, I'm just kidding. Actually, you have awareness 24 hours, but if you're not recognize your awareness, then it will not become meditation. So meditation is recognize your awareness and maintain that recognition, become meditation.
Rinpoche, the question around Dharmakaya, this one is around Dharmakaya. And is everyone have their own Dharmakaya? Is there different types of Dharmakaya? Like is there Dharmakaya of human, Dharmakaya of Buddha, this type of question? Yeah.
My Dharmakaya is better and your Dharmakaya, I'm not sure.
I'm sure, Rinpoche.
I'm just kidding. So same, everybody, the Dharmakaya of all of beings are same, but the same doesn't mean one also. What we call there's no difference, but no difference doesn't mean one. Because our mind is so much fixed with this yes or no. If yes, then not no. If it's a no, that means not yes. So we have only two possibilities, right? So it is conceptually difficult to understand. So maybe traditionally we have the close example is if there's an empty cup, maybe thousands of empty cup, and each empty cup there's a space in the cup. So the space in the cup is like Dharmakaya, and the cup is the individual. So look like the space in the cup A is a little bit different than space in the cup B because of the cup, not because of the space. But once you broke the cup, you cannot make difference between space in the cup A or B. So right now, we are in the samsara. So we are trapped in this subject and object, four boxes, trapped in this time and matter. So we are very small now. So looks like my nature is look like different than your nature. What I think, you don't know. What I experience, you just guess. Otherwise, or if I told you, otherwise you don't know. So look like different. But when we really free, there's no difference. But there's no difference doesn't mean like one big giant Dharmakaya, providing everywhere. Not like that also.
Thank you, Rinpoche. This next question is a big question, but I think it would be nice to hear Rinpoche talk a little to it. And it's what are the big basic differences in approaches in Dzogchen, Mahamudra, and Vipassana?
Dzogchen and the Mahamudra is very similar. These teachings are what we believe is the later teaching of the Buddha. So the real popular teaching of a Buddha is the Buddha taught in the Saranat, what we call first training wheel of Dharma. So basically Buddha taught on the Four Noble Truths and the various sutras, so many teachings. There's the public one. Then Buddha taught some student, not totally public, but some student who ready to receive this teaching. Buddha went to Vulture Peak Mountain. So Buddha taught the second teaching about the emptiness and bodhicitta. Then the last teaching, there's no particular one place, various place, Buddha taught the Vajrayana teaching. And within the Vajrayana, one of the main meditative tradition is the Dzogchen and the Mahamudra. So Vipassana now, actually, all the Buddhist tradition we have Vipassana. But normally now the famous Vipassana is a lot of based on the first teaching of a Buddha, the early teaching of a Buddha. Vipassana meaning insight meaning to see the nature of mind and matter. So here, the nature of mind and matter is impermanent, the changing. And then the interdependent and the suffering. So that's the insight. And then according to second teaching, the Vipassana meaning the emptiness. And that is the nature of mind and matter also. Nature of all phenomena is emptiness. And according to the last teaching, is luminosity. So luminosity is the nature of all of us. So there are different kind of like ways. But of course, in the end, all these came to the same place in the end, whatever Buddha taught. So the difference between Mahamudra and the Dzogchen is the kind of focus. The Dzogchen main focus on the view. So Dzogchen, there's not step-by-step meditation much. Of course, there's some foundational meditation practice, and directly you introduce the view. But in Mahamudra, the first focus is the meditation. So there's step-by-step practice of many meditations like shamatha, various aspects of shamatha, and then eventually lead to the view. So that's the main difference.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Could Rinpoche offer any suggestions as to how best to work with resistance and laziness when it comes to practice?
So The one important thing is the laziness comes from our habitual pattern. So normally we don't have habit to practice meditation. So then the other habits are resisting the new kind of like practice. Now you have this new so-called meditation comes into my being. I don't want that. I just want my normal. So we need to build new habit of the meditation. So to build this new habit, it will take in the ancient time what we call 21 days to the 30 days. Begin to have this new habit. So if you want to meditate every day, don't practice too much at the beginning. Less one. Even if you want to meditate 30 minutes every day, but don't practice 30 minutes first. Maybe just try 15 minutes. But do it that for more than 21 days. 30 days. Whether you like or not, 30 days. Then after 30 days later, you already have habit. It's go into the body, into the feeling, into the habitual level. Then after that, easy. So after 3 months later, become very easy. It is become like, we take shower every day, right? Brush tooth, sometimes 2 times a day. And it's like, just like that. And if you don't take shower, we feel uncomfortable. So when I went to the retreat in the Himalaya mountains, they don't take shower, maybe 1 year, 1 time. But there's in the mountain, it's weather is cold, so it doesn't smell much. Sometimes they come here in Kathmandu. Kathmandu is the lower part of Nepal. Then the smell goes around 10 meters. So sometimes I ask them, please take shower, I give them soap. They say, yes, Rinpoche. And they may take 1 time, and next morning they don't want to take shower again. So for them, taking shower is very difficult because they don't have habit.
Rinpoche, you mentioned 21 to 30 days. Did you say that was in some text? What text is that in?
In general, we call like 3 weeks. If you do any practice, or month, this month practice, or 100 days, meaning 3 months. So these are the really to build the practice into the habitual, into the being.
Rinpoche, you mentioned these yogis on retreat. Someone is asking about what is your advice for people who want to go on longer periods of retreat on their own? What sort of level do you need to be, and what sort of practices would you recommend? What's your general advice for this type of wish?
Yeah, I think first you need to learn the kind of like learn and experience of what the meditation kind of like get some taste, some understand about what you're going to practice. Then if you go to alone practice, then it will be okay. But you cannot really rely on total book and then go into the mountain. So at the beginning, it's quite difficult.
Rinpoche, here's a question I should have asked you actually. What is grandpa and grandma lineage? Can you explain what these words mean?
So that is the very simple and kind of like essence of all the Buddha's teaching come into one, and very simple language, and kind of like, because grandpa, grandma in the Tibet, they are illiterate. They don't know how to read, how to write, and they never go to school. So they don't have really kind of like intellectual, sophisticated kind of like learning style. They have to kind of like almost you pinpoint to them. So that's the grandpa, grandma style.
Oh, very nice. There's another question. There's a couple of questions about retreats. It seems, Rinpoche, that quite a few people are taking this quarantine time to do retreat. and doing quite strict retreats. And so there's questions around, so people are doing these retreats, and actually they are self-isolated. So there's not many other people around, but they might have to every day go onto the internet to do some email or something like that. And it seems that this is quite disturbing to their retreat. And so they were wanting some advice from you about day to day, how to go in and out of these spaces.
So normally what we call formal session and informal meditation sessions. The formal session, don't look at the internet, don't look at the phone, let go of everything and dedicate your time, fully dedicate for your meditation. Keep silent. So there's a formal meditation. Informal meditation, you can apply same technique of meditation while you're sending email, but maybe it's just few seconds. Let's say if you practice breathing meditation, maybe half breath, maybe one breath while you're tapping. Be aware of breath, maybe a few seconds. While you're walking also, while you're eating also, while you're cleaning your house, cooking while you're cooking also. So you can meditate everywhere, anytime, right? So there's the informal meditation. And this informal meditation really helps to the formal meditation. Formal meditation helps informal meditation. But if your mindset only look for formal meditation, then sometimes we might feel disturbance of the different things here and there going, So when you do retreat, you make some kind of schedule. Like now I'm partly in retreat, but I'm teaching online. I'm, making my farm also.
Very nice. It's nice to do a retreat and then also have a bit of farming to do, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Here's a question around how to purify past negative karma. How can someone purify these karmic imprints?
So karmic imprints can purify it when we begin to free of the ignorance, aversion, and the craving. So like when we begin to learn meditation, actually we are begin to free these three. Like for example, even with the breathing meditation, we connect with awareness, we recognize awareness. So when we recognize awareness, and that is the opposite of unawareness. So knowing things as it is the wisdom. So wisdom is opposite of ignorance or unawareness. So we just be with the breath as it is. Whatever breath is okay, just be with it. So that is beginning to have wisdom. So when we be with the breath, then we may have blah, 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 yada, 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 so many thoughts, emotions, my to-do list. Oops, I forget something. And I didn't remember before. Now I'm meditating. I remember, should I, get up, So many thoughts came, feelings. Let them come. Don't block them. Doesn't matter, positive, negative, let them come. But the main important thing is, as long as if you still remember your breath, you're okay. So your mind glimpse of being with the breath, but then other thought come, let them come. So that is you are begin to free aversion. So your mind is training to free aversion, because normally when we watch a breath, suddenly the bala 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 yada yada comes, we have a resistance. So now we are training, let them come. As long as if you not forget the breath, you're okay. Then at the same time, we don't care about what kind of breath is. Peaceful, not peaceful, you control your breath or you're not controlling your breath, everything's okay. So that is the freeing the craving. So we are try to look for something nice, something perfect, something, everything under my control or everything is order. We don't care about that. So we are begin to free the craving. So when we free this eventually, then it will purify the karma eventually. Then of course we need to go the wisdom more deeper, deeper. So then we will see impermanent, then we will see emptiness. So when we see emptiness, that is the really powerful to purify the karma.
Wow. Nice, Rinpoche. This question's around dealing with pain and meditating on pain. So this person has tried to practice awareness with pain, but sometimes it's quite difficult because the pain persists, and then they get depressed, but then they try and meditate on depression, this flexibility, yeah, meditating on depression instead. But at the end of the day, they find it very difficult and tiring, and then they're reluctant to do formal meditation. And so is there anything else, they could do? Any advice for this situation, Rinpoche?
Yeah, so normally as when we practice meditation with the pain, if the pain is so strong, maybe don't practice with the strong pain first. You have to start with a small pain, a small emotion. Try with that. Then we will gain some experience. Then eventually you can watch the big pain, but then you might feel if the pain is so strong, you might have fear or depressed, something like that. So then change. Don't look at the pain. Maybe just watch breath or listen to sound, something like that. Even you do that, if you feel the tired, exhausted, then don't practice meditation sometime, what we call take a break. So take a break. Taking a break is also part of the practice. When we hike a mountain, sometimes we need to take a break in the halfway. So it's okay. It is a part of the journey. When you're taking break halfway, it doesn't mean you return back. So normally, sometimes what we feel is I cannot meditate now. It's not good. We feel bad about that. So it's okay to take a break. And another important is do some physical exercise. If pain is not too much, if the doctor say okay to do physical exercise, then aerobic exercise is really beneficial for the emotional balance. And also, when you do physical exercise and the meditation together, that's a really powerful, beneficial. Now, like when I have discussion with the neuroscience, what they call neural pathway or neurogenesis. So these neural pathway and neurogenesis are active when you do physical exercise. So you will have new path. So when you do physical exercise and meditate, then your normal connection in your brain, the connection of depression or anxiety, change into different meditation, kind of a new path, new neuron connection in the brain.
That's very interesting, Rinpoche, about the physical exercise. We had a question from someone who is a fitness instructor and a physical therapist. And the question is, how do we bring movement into the practice? And also for clients, how do you teach movement in a way that's consistent with awareness? And then also a question around if Rinpoche has like a yoga practice as part of his practice.
Yes, I have now developing what I call awareness yoga. So awareness yoga, the yoga which is help for the meditation. So we have that. I think, I don't know, is a video that we can learn now available or not. So normally we have this in the groups. And the basically people who do physical exercise, one simple meditation is to be with the body, be with the present, be with your mind, be with your movement. So that's the very easy and everybody can do.
So Rinpoche, is there a movement that you do when you're sitting? Is there something you can show us now?
Now I think
Just
need to have more space.
more space. Okay. There's a question around Alzheimer's disease, Rinpoche. This
Mm,
where you lose the memory, and so there's a few Buddhist teachers who are addressing how to deal with Alzheimer's disease and what
mm.
does one, how can one as a caretaker apply the Dharma in this situation? What are your thoughts on teachings for the Alzheimer community and how they can benefit from Dharma?
Yeah, I think the meditation, like watching the breath, breathing in, breathing out, continued be with the breath. When you be with the breath, the brain is active, mind is active. So that helps entire the brain function, all this. I think it it might help. If you are a caretaker there, it depends on your the clients, what do you call patients. So if they're interested, you can talk about that. But if they are not interested, then I think main important is just be there, listen to them, and be there for them.
Give them attention, actually. Yeah, give
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Then Rinpoche, there's another question. So we talked about the differences Dzogchen, Mahamudra, Vipassana, and then someone said, well, what about Vajrayana? What is the difference between, how is Dzogchen and Mahamudra related to Vajrayana?
The Dzogchen and Mahamudra is the essence of Vajrayana practice. It is a part of the Vajrayana.
So Rinpoche, how would you describe Vajrayana then? What does it mean, Vajrayana?
So Vajrayana, so in the Vajrayana, what we believe is you are wonderful. I am wonderful. So we all have enlightened nature. So what we call pure perception meaning seeing enlightened nature within yourself, within others. It doesn't matter you're a human or animal, dog. Dog has also wonderful nature. Samsara is nirvana. So that's the basic principle of Vajrayana. So then there's a practice of Vajrayana. There are three main practice, what we call developmental stage, completion stage, and the path of liberation. So there's three stage. So the developmental stage is working with the imagination. So we all have this imagination, and this imagination is very powerful, you know. So this imagination is comes with the image, voice, and sensation, three together. So we use that to transform negative, the ignorant, aversion, attachment, and to see our true nature. So that's the developmental stage. Second is completion stage, is working with the subtle body, what we call the prana, bindu, nadi. So you work with the energy level in your body. And then when you work with the body, subtle level of the body, and your mind become non-conceptual. And through that, you can connect with your true nature. And the path of liberation is connected with awareness that I mentioned a little bit here during our interview. So through the awareness, love, and compassion and wisdom, which is the quality of your enlightened nature, like we mentioned about awareness, like sky, thought, emotions, like cloud. The sky is always present and free. And how we can connect to the sky? We can connect to the sky through the cloud. So that is what we call self-liberation, self-antidote. And this is the special practice of the Mahamudra and Dzogchen. The path of liberation is in the Vajrayana, but the Vajrayana special, the division is the Dzogchen and the Mahamudra is in the path of liberation.
Thank you, Rinpoche. So our time is coming near to the end. So I'll ask one more question from the audience. And
Yes.
sorry, everyone, we didn't get to so many questions. But Rinpoche, this final question is, how do we need to have a personal relationship with a teacher? And specifically in Vajrayana, how deep does this relationship with the teacher have to be?
So the teacher, the main relationship between a student and teacher is the teaching. You have to receive this teaching, and especially what we call lineage. So there's a kind of unbroken lineage, and that receive from the kind of like what we call live teacher. So like now scientists saying, what scientists saying that when you go to the class, what you get from the word is only 7%. All this 93% is non-verbal, meaning who they are. There's some kind of like non-verbal communication based on the person has that experience. And that experience some kind of like radiate. So that is what we call lineage. So that is through the teaching. Not you have special connection with the teacher or you have special gift from the teachers, not like that. So the teaching. So once you receive the teaching, then after that, your practice. Practice is the best to keep the connection. So what we call teacher is like flower, student is like bee, and the Dharma is like nectar. So the bee go to the flower, take nectar. And you can go to another flower, take nectar. So don't attach to the flower, but main thing, you can take the nectar.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche, and thank you for sharing such, being so generous with your profound wisdom and giving us this time. I wanted to offer you just the final words if you wanted to share any final advice, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wonderful to be here today, wisdom experience, and hopefully whatever through our dialogue will benefit for all of you and be happy. And the most important is we all have this wonderful nature within us. So try to explore and be with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's such a nice time to spend together with Rinpoche. We'll be doing another Dharma chat next Wednesday evening. I think Bhikkhu Bodhi is joining us. I have to check, but I think Bhikkhu Bodhi is joining us. And then next Friday, Rinpoche is kindly coming back, and we'll be joining with Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche for another profound conversation from the two Rinpoches, actually. Thank you so much, Rinpoche, and good night. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Rinpoche, so much.